Meanwhile, the ACTU is poised to suspend the beleaguered Health Services Union from its ranks as the fallout from the Craig Thomson affair continues. And there are calls from inside the union movement for tougher controls on union governance and finances. Hamish Fitzsimmons reports.
The Peak Union Council is ready to take the drastic action of suspending the Health Services Union from its ranks.
The governance issues within the HSU and the ongoing allegations hanging over certain individuals in the HSU are of such serious nature that the broader union movement is forced to do whatever is in our power.
Australian unions have zero tolerance for corruption. If issues are raised, those issues should be investigated and they should be dealt with.
But the head of one of the bigger trade unions is calling for more financial accountability in the union movement.
We have these very old historical rules. We aren't required to observe the same levels of corporate governance that a company limited by guarantee is. We need to tighten that up.
The ACTU says the majority of union executives adhere to strict Fair Work Australia regulations on financial reporting.
They must and they do familiarise themselves with all aspects of the regulatory regime, which is in fact very stringent in this country.
One of the country's top industrial lawyers agrees current financial reporting arrangements provide enough transparency.
Fair Work Australia is the institution that has that responsibility. I think that's perfectly appropriate, and there is a robust set of checks and balances in existing legislation, and it's up to Fair Work Australia to be the watchdog, and I think again that is perfectly appropriate.
But Dean Miles says unions should be subject to the same level of financial scrutiny as the corporate world.
We're elected mostly from the shop floor, and we haven't got those skills, but I think there's a requirement on us to train up, to learn about corporate governance. I know for our own organisation, we found that an absolute revelation.
The ACTU claims financial breaches happen less in unions than they do in public companies.
Unions are democratic, accountable, transparent organisations subject to a very strict regime of accountability and reporting.
The Victorian branch of the ETU disaffiliated from the ALP 2 years ago after members approved the move. Dean Miles believes unions can be damaged by being too close to Labor.
It harms us. This is a classic example with the HSU, what's going on now. It harms the ALP, and we lose our leverage as a union movement, and I think we can do much better separately.
If the ACTU cuts the Health Services Union loose, it will be a radical step.
I've never heard of a measure like that being taken in my career, so I certainly think it is a remarkable development and unprecedented in my experience.
The HSU's place at the big union table will be decided within hours. Hamish Fitzsimmons, Lateline.